Hey, everybody. Happy Friday. Jennifer Outwater here. I am so excited to be here with you guys again for open source and so tickled pink that we've had so many people coming into the network. It's been amazing. The energy has been amazing. I've been so excited. It's been so cool. So I'm going to kind of click over here and see, hey, Chastity, what's going on in chat? It's so good to have you guys in. I love y'all so much. It's so sweet and so precious. And Chastity, we're going to get to that, what you were talking about in a few minutes. One of our Ascension experts, Wanda Callahan, has had a family loss. And so we want to hold just a minute of peace and prayer and meditation for her and her family to kind of help them with their ascension of their family member as well. So we're definitely going to be jumping into that. Got lots of cool things to talk about. Rachel may jump back in. Rachel and I both had, sorry, I'm changing my light up a little bit. Rachel and I both had quite the night last night, and it'll be interesting to see if you guys had the same experience, but we for sure had a lot going on. So, yeah, Chastity, we're going to wait for a couple more people to jump in, and then I will open it up too for Rachel if she does come in. But everybody on YouTube, thanks for being with us also. We're so happy to have you, and you guys feel free to leave your comments. I know sometimes they're a little delayed coming in, but we're happy to answer them, and I'm just happy to be here with you. So I'll ask you, Chastity, while you're in, did you have anything interesting that happened last night after the show? Because we sure did. Just let me know. It's crazy not being able to talk to you guys face to face. I want to see if I can find a different platform where I can put you guys in live. It's so weird. It's so weird not being able to have conversations with you one-on-one, which is definitely the way I prefer to do it. But there was a lot of energetic shift last night. So we, after the show, we were talking about it during the roundtable last night with Rachel and I, but then after the show, Rachel and I both had an experience that I thought was super interesting. And so I was curious to see if you guys that were involved or if you watched the show last night, if you guys had any of those experiences too, because it was, yeah, I don't know, kind of profound. I'll be honest with you. It was puzzling me a little bit today, and definitely Rachel as well. It was pretty interesting. But while we're waiting on people, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to pull one card for the collective. We always like to do that. We like to pull one for all of us to kind of see where the energy is going to flow, where things are going to be going. Helps us kind of keep a grip on what it is that the universe wants us to talk about. Oh, wow. And so it's finishing things. This is this symbol is always important because it represents self, like how we are living our lives or how we view ourselves or what's going on in our personal reality. And so with it like this, it's finishing. However, I always invert, so it's starting, which is even better. It means we're starting an entirely new journey, and that is amazing. Just goes right along with what we're doing. So Chastity, you had a lot of energy yesterday, but woke up really sad. It was weird. It was weird. Like Rachel and I were, it was crazy last night. We were talking about it today. After the show, Victor was here last night. We went outside and this crazy lightning storm came in and hung out for like 2 hours. There was never any thunder. There wasn't any rain until late in the night. But this thing just came out like shooting. It was just burst of energy everywhere. And I felt super charged with it at first. And then kind of like you, I felt sad. Like there was a moment where I felt that loss again, like I was talking about the other day, where I felt like I was losing people. It was strange. Rachel had the exact same thing. So she said the minute we got off last night, she went outside and this crazy freak electrical storm comes up. And the same thing, she said she felt like energy was shooting down from the storm and that it scared the crap out of her because she felt like something was coming at her, which was really strange. So we were talking about it a lot. And she was like, do you think something came down in that yesterday? And I said, yeah, of course. I mean, there's no doubt that we are in an alternate reality. In fact, tonight I'm going to show you guys something that should pretty much sum that up. So a lot of you have heard of the Mandela effect, of course, over the years, and I think we're all experiencing that. And long-term, I'm not going to say memory loss, memory redistribution maybe is the right way to say this, where our memories have been kind of reset in a different way. Some of us are able to hone in and hang on to what we knew before. Some people are completely in a state of amnesia with that. They have no recollection. So you get a big part of the population who's on one side or the other, which has always been the goal in everything, right? Them and us and all of this garbage. But it is fascinating because it makes it very clear that we are absolutely in a parallel. I think everybody who's awake is feeling that. They're feeling that awkwardness. It's that loss of something. It's the knowing, like we all knew over the last maybe 5 or 6 years that something was coming in. We were holding our breaths waiting for it, right? Like we were waiting on this, I don't know, this death, in a sense, the death of everything we knew. People were getting paranoid. People were picketing. People were hoarding food. People were getting ill. People were dropping off. Now that thing's arrived, and it's not death in the sense I think that we all thought it would be, but it is death in a different way for sure. Kind of like the card was showing, it was death to start over in a new cycle, and we're there. So very, very strange. I'm going to jump over really quick and look. Oh, that's really sweet. Sorry, it's so hard jumping between this and YouTube. We're streaming on 3 channels, and it's kind of crazy to see which way that's going to go. But one of the things that I wanted to show you, like no matter where you are philosophically or on a theological level, there have definitely been some odd things that have shifted in our current timeline that were related to the past timeline that we were in. And one of them that I found just rocked me, because I grew up in a super conservative religious family. So it's not like, I didn't know the Bible inside and out. I absolutely did. Even if I didn't want to, it was ingrained in there. But it made this next thing really interesting. And I'm going to share it to the screen so that you guys can get it. But it's a quote from Isaiah 11:16 from the King James Version. Now, I looked this up. It was also in the other versions of the Bible, as well as the Latter-day Saints, the Book of Mormon version of the Bible, which they're all pretty much the same. There's just some minor words that are changed, but this one's not really minor. This one is really interesting. So let me share the screen with you really quick, and I want to show you this. It's just bizarre. All right, if you guys can see that, Isaiah 11:16-9 used to say, and the lion also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the young goat. Now it says, the wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the young goat. Now, what was so fascinating for me when I started looking this up, because I always want to verify things, is not only had the verbiage changed, but in a lot of the children's books and in different Bibles, the picture had changed and showed a wolf with the lamb. There were some versions where the lion was still shown, but it read, and the wolf shall lie down with the lamb. It was the strangest thing. I had to really sit back and take a minute and kind of think about that and go, holy crap, how did that get all misconstrued, right? Totally, totally bizarre. But it, for me, is more proof, not that I need it, but I think it's physical evidence that we've shifted. Our timeline has shifted. We've got all these little things. You can go look them up for yourself. I'm going to say, I said it to Rachel, don't go down the rabbit hole. Just be aware that this is more like a black hole, right? Like this is a whole different thing, because it's connecting you to an entirely different reality. So there's been a lot of talk about that, whether it was part of the CERN multi-collider. When I look up those things, because I remember living in Italy when they did the last particle experiment that they really talked about. That was in 2018. But the first big one they did was in 2008. And that was around the timeline when I felt the first shift, right? This new one, it's interesting because I don't remember much between that time and 2019. It's kind of a blur for me. So there's some of that where I have to sit back and go, geez, I wonder if something happened. But yeah, strange stuff. So we'll kind of get into some of that stuff. If you guys have questions about it, feel free to post them in the chat, and I will do everything I can if I have the answer. If I don't, then we can look it up as a group, right? We can try to figure this one out as a group. Chastity, how's your day going, sweetie? Did you find love yet? That's the big question, right? Did you find love yet? I know that's something, your mind is always there. It's so funny. I was thinking about you today with that. I was thinking, man, if she only realized she's the love of her life, right? If she only realized that her soulmate is her, she'd quit looking, right? Like she would just start loving herself as much as she wants to love somebody else. But if you found somebody, let me know. I'll be excited about that too. It'd be really awesome. So kind of moving in with things. Oh, that's funny because I just pulled 3 cards to kind of see where we should go next. I'm really trying to stay in flow lately, to just kind of let energetic flow guide me as to where our conversations are going and what's going on. And so what came up inverted was moving forward, if you guys could see that. Then the soulmate. And then the third one that came was not movement, but standing still. So moving forward, people have to understand that the soulmate that they've been looking for has always been inside of them. It's always been them. It has never been anything external. I think when we live spherically in so many realities, we miss pieces of ourselves. That's that thing that we long for when we're looking for the other part of us, or split apart, or however you want to call it. But I think it's us. I think it's us we're looking for. Like, we want that collective thing to come into one whole thing. Let me see. No, but things shifted a few days ago with him. Good. Don't be surprised if it doesn't take a while, sweetie, to get things there, because here's the truth. We're all going through this, right? Like together, but individually as well. I think it's super confusing for people, and people are tending right now to want to covet things to themselves, especially their time and their space and their energy. It's not like they're putting a wall up around everything, but they're for sure putting up like a picket fence. Do you know what I mean? It's enough to where it's like, I see you, right? Like, we can communicate over that fence, but you can't come through it unless I open the door all the way. It's like this kind of mild boundary that seems kind of silly to me, but a lot of people are really doing that. I can feel that I do it a lot out in public, although normally I'm wide open, but I realize right now that people are desperately seeking, and I don't want to be the thing they attach to. I just want to be a neutral observer in everything. But it'll get there. Listen, it'll get there with him. I don't have any doubt about that. I think, both of you guys are so interesting to me because you're so individual, but so dynamically dependent emotionally on each other. It's like it's a ping pong match. It's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you guys really have this effect on each other. When it's harnessed, it could make you guys unstoppable. When it's not harnessed, like lately, it makes you guys not connect all the way. It's just a lot of, I don't know, like pulling back reserved energy, pulling it back all the time. It's crazy. But if that's what you want, right now we're manifesting faster than we've ever manifested before. So manifest the healing and the growth for him and for you. I know you're doing that for yourself, but it'll help him move forward quite a bit. That'll be a really good thing for everybody, no doubt about it. Let me jump in. I've got one on YouTube. I don't know if you guys can see the comments. Probably not. They seem to, y'all's comments sometimes when it's coming from different pages or different sites seem to kind of trickle in a weird way. So if you guys don't see them, my apologies. I'll try to figure out why. But I've got one coming in from YouTube now, and she's asking, are things going to change at work? Yes, but the first card that I got was financial gain. I have to invert that. It means for me that things are not going to change, obviously, financially. There's not going to be a raise coming in. There's not going to be more money coming in like that. We also have to make peace with the fact that we kind of are earning what we deserve to earn. I know we've all been fed this thing of saying, I deserve more. Maybe you do, but maybe it's not physical. Maybe the more that you deserve is not a material thing. Maybe the more that you deserve is a spiritual or an emotional thing. So that part won't change as much. The next one that comes in is the coworkers and their money, kind of how they affect work. And I have to invert that as well and kind of see what's going on with it. When the coworkers come in like that, it means that you're viewing any lack of moving forward on other people's reality. It has nothing to do with that. Like, you're getting slighted out of the job, right? Like, it's not coming through because of something somebody else did. That's absolutely not true, though. That's 100% on you. It's 100% on you to pull those things in. There's enough abundance in the universe that we never have to pull from somebody else. What is ours has always been ours and will always be ours. So this lack thing, You have to let go of that. That's a mindset that will absolutely cripple you. And this was the next card. Inverted mindset. That's the one thing holding you back. Holy moly. Right? Like you've got to be able to pull yourself into a bigger perspective, to really view yourself from a different perspective. Like you're sitting up here watching what's going on, right? If you were watching your friend do that, if you were watching your friend say, oh my God, I'm not getting what I want because, this lady at the office, I have to watch my language, but this beautiful lady at the office is always in my way and talking smack and whatever, but you're bringing her into the reality, right? You're taking somebody who's separate of that and turning it into something that's part of you, which just doesn't work. It doesn't work like that, at least not in a healthy way. It makes things really unhealthy, and it makes everybody have a really hard time with viewing the reality of the situation. So definitely be careful with that kind of stuff. Sorry, guys, I'm going to be jumping around for a second. I'm jumping over to the other page right now, too, to look because I am all over the place, having to go back and forth between comments. It is absolutely way too much for me. I am partially blonde. Not all the way blonde. I'm not going to lie. Y'all can see my roots, but blonde enough. Let me just say it like that. Holy camole. Anybody else coming in for Facebook? Does anybody else need a reading or have any questions? Because I am happy to jump in. I see a lot of you guys just aren't even jumping into chat. I can see you on, but you guys aren't jumping in. I'm hoping you guys aren't having crazy technical issues. We've definitely been having them. Like my sound keeps going out all the time. I can't keep my sound in check anywhere, on my microphone, on the computer, on anything, and things keep getting shut down, even in class. So we know that there's like a funky frequency kind of moving through that's pushing things in a weird way. Okay, I see Kim on YouTube. Hey, Kim. How you doing? Yeah, I usually put everybody's comments up on the board, but with YouTube, for some reason, I can't do that. Chastity, you've had crazy tech issues all week too. Everybody has. It's like this static, right? That's kind of sitting. It's the static of that parallel. I'm telling you, it's so hard to explain because I want to verbalize it in a clear and concise way, but I don't know if there's a clear and concise way to verbalize insanity, right? Like it's just straight up crazy. Straight up crazy. But let me jump back over to her real quick. What's a parallel? Well, I mean, it's something that sits exactly with us, right? It's something that rides in the same way. Think of parallel lines or parallel parking. It's the same thing. And when it comes to quantum physics, when we're looking at parallel universes or we're looking at parallel timelines, it's typically, I think most of the time, at least it feels like for me, that it's usually timeline shifts that we feel the most, especially recently. I think we've had a couple of really weird timeline jumps because things just aren't adding up. I mean, they just are not adding up. I was saying today, like, what happened to all like the Blue Origin and all these rockets? So they were talking about them nonstop 3-4 months ago. No, nothing. I don't hear a word about them, right? Like it's just like they've disappeared. So many of these things that were so important a couple of months ago have just gone away. Like they've just dissipated. Like the protests, where did they go? It's not that things got better. That's not what happened. Things didn't get better. Just something shifted. Like everybody just stopped. I'm grateful for it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying it's those little things like that that make me go, something's a little off. But the parallel is just that. It's an energy wave that's riding at the same position we are, whether it be above us, below us, to the side of us. There's a million different directions that could ride in, but it's something that's just moving concurrently with us. I do think that it's just different enough that we're seeing these subtle things like what I was showing you guys earlier with the Isaiah quote. It's not so far off that we can't look at it and it makes us ponder if we're remembering it wrong or, if we're having like a false memory. It's just enough to make you question, but similar enough to get you to keep moving along with it. The other thing I've noticed with this shift that we've had right now is time. I lose so much time. It's like time isn't even relative. I have to set up schedules for myself every day that are usually based around the network to create a timeline, because otherwise I'm just here. I'm just here, right? Like I wake up, I have coffee, I'm here. There's no movement. that I can notice, and then suddenly it's dark and I can't sleep. It's super strange. Let me see, Chastity just popped back up with something. Maybe, maybe it was all a distraction. I think there's been a lot of distraction. I think there's a lot of energy and powers that be that would love to really keep us held down in the 3D hardcore because they gain so much from it. I mean, we gain nothing from it. We're slaves to it. But they gain so much from us being in that matrix, constantly feeding that machine. Do you know what I mean? Giving our energetic life basically over to their wishes and wants and the fear. So yeah, I agree with you absolutely. I think a lot of it's a distraction. But then I think most things are a distraction if we're being honest. I think reality TV is, God knows, the worst distraction ever. I worked in it mildly years ago, not on silly shows. I did paranormal shows, but they were kind of silly if I'm being honest. There was multiple times that I would step back and go, I'm not saying that, or I'm not doing that. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Why would I dumb myself down, right? But distractive decoy, I mean, absolutely, to get people in one energetic of not even thinking. Do you know what I mean? Just being constantly amused, but amused while not being shocked by poor behavior. So that when big poor behavior came in, nobody was shocked by it. Just kind of rolled off everybody's back like, meh, it's whatever. Yeah, they don't want us to break free. Listen, if we break free, where does that leave them? I mean, if we're not grazing like cattle, where's the beef, right? Like, I know that's stupid to say, but where's the beef? This was another interesting conversation because you guys, some of you know, some of you don't, but I've been a chef for many, many years, and I cook really, really old school. I'm all about the origins of food and the real source of food, especially culturally. And so I was having a talk with a girl. I went to get my nails done, and she's Mexican, and we were talking about Mexican food. We were talking about what we loved and what we didn't love. And many years ago, I had a taqueria in Italy and handmade tortilla and the whole 9 yards. And so I said, the one thing I don't like is corn. And she goes, why don't you like corn? I said, it's not part of your natural diet. That was brought in by the Spanish to feed livestock and slaves. And somehow it just kept on perpetuating in your culture. It got so, no pun intended, so ingrained into the culture as a food staple that people just kept eating it. And now you look all these years later and people are suffering horrible obesity and kidney disease and diabetes in that culture. And it all came from that. So, do they want us to break free? No, it goes back to that cattle expression. If they can harness that, if they can keep us sick, if they can keep us physically and mentally ill, then we're dependent, right? Then we feel really weak and we feel like we need to pull on something larger than ourselves. It's just we've been pulling on the wrong thing. I mean, I know what I'm about to say probably will offend some people, and I'm sorry if it does. That is not my intention. But a lot of the times I have definitely had mixed feelings over what we have referred to as God, what we're worshiping, because any theologian who's really done the research, who will admit it openly, let's say they're not attached to a particular philosophy, will agree that the God of the Old Testament and the God of the New Testament were two completely different animals. The God of the Old Testament was vengeful and cruel and demanded sacrifice of blood, sacrifice of children, sacrifice of oneself. Then suddenly that God shifts into benevolent, loving kindness, right? It's bizarre, but I always wondered about how much energy was put out to those two different gods. They are two different, in my opinion, two very, very different entities. How much of our energy did we use praying, creating these things, feeding these things for so many years? We didn't get anything back from them. We were given the illusion of hope that if we just did it well enough, if we were just good enough, if we just played within the lines and the rules enough, that we would be rewarded. But there's never been any reward, right? Like you just didn't see it. And all that sickness has run through those organizations regarding children and women. It's been crazy. So yeah, I think at some point we have to step back and I hope let go of that version of reality. Like I hope people are going to be easier letting go of that particular part of our past, current, or our past timeline because it's so sadistic. Moving into the new one, it's not paradise. It still has a whole lot of problems. It's just more open in the way that we perceive and communicate, in the perceptions that we are allowed to have. Like we'll start seeing more entities, more dimensional entities when we're moving into that 4. That was another really cool conversation today with Rachel. We were talking about it, and I said, my worry is that people are going to jump in it too fast, not realizing what they're jumping into. And I don't think that most people on this timeline are prepared to see what those entities actually look like, because we would find it so fearful. Psychologically, I think it could be very damaging. So I think that progression is incredibly slow. But if you guys notice, those of you who are awakening or super woke, if you start noticing that your friends are getting a little off the deep end, talking about ghosts and hauntings and spirits and being abducted and all of these things, please try to help them elevate their consciousness a little bit, because they are stuck between 3 and 4, and that's a terrifying place to be. It's a really, really scary place to be. So I hope that we can all kind of help each other lift up a little bit and move through that without it being such a train wreck. But I can definitely see where it is, and it has been. It's been for a lot of people. Let me jump back over. Holy camole. You know what, Chastity? It's so funny, but I'm only seeing your comments. It's crazy. And I can see everybody else's, like with YouTube, and only yours come up in my screen. I guess you're supposed to be the most important thing in my world today, which is totally fine. I don't have any problem with that. But it's crazy. I think I'm getting another interruption in electronics here. So since I'm only seeing yours, I'll just put your comments up. This will be the Chastity and Jennifer hour. Based off of fear to control the masses? Absolutely. But we also, we agree to all that, don't we? I mean, we agree to it in every single way. We agree to it when we sign a document when our kids are born. We agree to it when we go and stand and get a picture of ourselves and our fingerprints taken to be able to drive. We agree to have a book when we fly so that they can mark us and keep up where we are. We've so silently agreed to all of this absurdity. That it's just, we like chains, we like cages. I've said this to a lot of people. People like cages. Some people like bigger ones, so they'll buy a huge house, and some people like smaller ones, and some people like big garden cages where they can build a giant wall around it because it makes them feel safe and it keeps other people out. But it's fascinating how much we have enjoyed in the lower realities to be boxed in like that. We've absolutely fed off of it. It's sad and kind of comical at the same time. I think when you step out of it, you can see the comedy in it. It becomes more of a joke than anything else. I've always had a giggle at it because I was just giving this speech to somebody, and then I went right out and enclosed my front patio and put like a winter garden in like an idiot. Although I love it, don't get me wrong, but it's just another cage, right? Like it's nothing more than another cage. So it's kind of funny. Hang on, give me 1 second. I need to click out of that. This is incredible. I need a secretary or something. I need somebody to run the back end for me. This is hard doing it all by myself. What the heck? I need to get some help up in here. Hey, Chastity, I was going to ask you too, because I've seen a lot of your posts. And so are you Wiccan? Is that been what you've been practicing, or what was your belief system? Not that it makes any difference. I was just curious, but I'd seen quite a bit. So I kind of wanted to tap in and see what that was with you. Oh, thanks, sweetie. You're so sweet. I might have to get you in on that. I'm telling you. It's hard running all the production and doing all this stuff, and then I got to keep up with 3 pages of comments. I'm telling you, I'm not that quick-witted. I have my moments. I can be, but I'm not always that quick-witted. But yeah, I was curious kind of what your theological or belief system background was. It's always fascinating for me to see where people are coming from. I mean, obviously it says so much about where they're going, but it's interesting to see where people are coming from. I know when I came, even before I came out of the Mormon church, of course, like Wicca and magic is always kind of the first open door that people go into, right? Some people really resonate and stay there, which I think is amazing, and some people don't. Some people move on. But I remember going into that realm very early. It was fascinating. It definitely helped me understand more about energetic and myself and kind of the magic of the universe. Being a medium, I'd always seen things that were odd, but I just kind of thought that was normal. I didn't have a baseline for the difference. But Wicca was an interesting one for me. I think after that one, I went more into the Eastern philosophies for a while, which was really cool because I was really blessed to be able to live all over the world and travel a lot and explore my world. That was one thing that I kind of demanded for myself, even though I was super poor doing it most of the time. But it was a lot of fun. I met a lot of people, and read a lot of books, and saw a lot of holy sites, and did a lot of really cool things. But it helped me broaden it out and realize that they're all the same thing when it comes right down to it, right? That people are the same. People just want the same things. They want to be free. They want to be happy. They want to feel loved. They want to feel safe. And all of those things have been the core of 3D reality. And they are in 4 as well. I think the only difference in 4D communication and 5D communication, 4D, we start overcoming that ego a little bit. It's still there, but we overcome it. The fear's not as heavy. Then once we get into 5D, Buddy, talk about neutrality. That is like the Switzerland of dimensional levels. It is so neutral up there sometimes that it can feel cold when you have interactions with other beings. It can feel, I've had a lot of people say, oh, it must have been something malevolent, right? Like it must have been something bad. No, but it can be perceived that way just because it's not warm and bubbly, right? It's different. It just can be perceived that way. I get perceived that way. I'm not always warm and bubbly. Sometimes I'm just observing and people think I'm a major a-hole. Maybe I am, but I don't think I am. All right, girl, let me see what you were saying. My belief isn't really anything I can put in a box. I believe very much that we were all tangled in the universe. I believe in magic and the mind. Amen to that one. I believe it's a higher power, but I don't believe it's God. I agree with you. I mean, we're all definitely entangled in it, right? I mean, how do you put a name on creation? And if you put a name on it, you have to put an origin on it. And if it came from a place, where did that place come from? Do you know what I mean? And so on and so on. Like you can go so far down the hole. I don't think our tiny little brains are even close to being able to perceive who and what we really are. But wouldn't it be some shit if we were just nothing and this was all a delusion? I think about that too. I'm all like, oh, geez, what if I just spent my entire life experience here delusional, right? Like that would be a hot mess. But who knows, right? Like the truth is we just don't know. We're all kind of going on these emotions that we have. We know some things to be real. We know frequency is real. We know energetic is real. We know feelings are real. We don't know if we're real. We don't know if the reality that we live in is real. But we know those things are because we can experience them no matter where we are in our journey, right? Okay, part of that's collective, but we can see it. There's proof. There's physical proof of that. But it is funny. Sometimes I'm like, oh man, I remember thinking a couple of months ago, like, I'm ready to shift out of this dimension. So you guys just come and take me whenever you want to. And then the thought hit me of, oh my God, I would have to leave my kids. I'm not leaving until they're ready to go. Like we have to all be on the train at the same time or I'm not going. That put me in a thought process of, holy crap, maybe we've all been in that loop for a really long time where it was time for us to go, but none of us would because we couldn't go with the people that we loved the most. So we decided to stay behind and not even talking about it. Like everybody's just staying behind because they're worried about leaving somebody behind. I know I'm rambling. This is where my brain goes. This is why people don't give me alcohol anymore. It's terrifying. It's not true. Sometimes they do. It can be terrifying, but it can be funny too. But yeah, that was, my brain was kind of in that pattern. Like, oh my God, I don't know if I want to leave my kid. And then ironically, right behind that, my appendix burst and I went septic twice in the middle of Kentucky in a place called Hazard, because it doesn't get worse than that, right? Appendix bursting, whole 9 yards, got a surgeon who's got boys to men jamming. I'll make love to you. I totally wasn't comfortable with getting that surgery. I can tell you right now. And in that moment, I really realized I better don't shift out right now. This is a hot mess, right? Like Romeo's going to need me and I don't want to die in Kentucky. I don't want my body left in the middle of Hazard, Kentucky. I love Kentucky. I own land in Kentucky. It's beautiful, but I didn't want to die in Hazard. That was for sure. But the leaving thing is I think that does hold a lot of people back for sure. No doubt about it. Oh, there you guys are. Now I'm seeing y'all. Holy cow. I was wondering where the heck everybody was. It sent you guys to a whole nother page. Here I've been rambling. Hey, Janelle. How are you doing, girl? Holy cow. Kelly. Hey, sweetie. See how crazy is that, Carol? I will put your name in there, baby girl. I am seeing y'all now. Absolutely. So my deepest, deepest apologies. That is so crazy. I don't know why I didn't see y'all before. I'm telling you, somebody's trying to shut me up, I think. Janelle, you're wanting to know if you should continue to travel over the next month or go home sooner than planned. Listen, here's the thing. I was telling everybody in the class that with this shift that's coming in on the 24th, and we are inching up on it when we have the alignment, I would really prefer that nobody travels the week before or after that time, because I think it's going to be volatile with the planet trying to get in alignment with everything. So I would really prefer that you guys didn't do that. But if you want to travel afterwards, that's fine. I do think everybody's trying to get home, whatever that means to them. People are trying to find somewhere safe to be and to get home. So I would go home next month if you can. If you can go home the first or second week, really better like mid first week or second week, go home then and just be safe, baby girl. You just want to get where you're comfortable, right? You want to get in your nest. You want to get grounded down. You want to get things secure again, and absolutely go do that. Hey, Miss Carol. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Carol, did you need a reading, sweetie? If you do, just let me know, because I'm having to run through both feeds right now to see you guys. So I'm sorry if I'm hopping back and forth. Just let me know, Carolyn. I will jump in with you. Typically, Carol, it's me feeding everybody's names. I run all the production on the front end and the back end for everybody, but I don't have anybody to run production for me. So this is where we are. It means that I have to deal with all this by myself. And I know it's a real pain in the rump, but I promise you I will get to each one of you guys because I love you and I'm grateful that you're here. So I will wait for that to come through. It looks like we've got a little bit of a lag as well. Between the multiple pages. So I'll just wait for it to come through. Kelly, how are you doing, sweetie? How's the weather? How's everything going? Cold, I would assume. Yes, ma'am, you want a reading. All right, sweet girl. Do you want to tell me in what area if you guys can do that, if you could let me know like one subject, it helps, because I don't want to give you anything that's too general. I would like to get as specific as I can for you, but I kind of need to know what you guys want to, what you want to touch on so that I can help you out in that area. If you can let me know that, Carol, that would be awesome. I would be happy to get you a reading. Carol, you're so cute. I have to tell you too, I kind of stalked you yesterday. I was laughing. I love putting everybody's faces. Like, I want to know who you guys are. And I was like, she is the cutest little pumpkin ever. I love the Hillbrant name. On love. Okay. Let's see what we can do about that, Carol. Let me see what I can figure out for you. Let's get it. I know you're not with anybody right now, or at least if you are, it doesn't feel connected at all. But let's see what we've got. Woo, girly. Honey, you're a tough cookie. I don't blame you for being a tough cookie. You have seen and dealt with and attracted and put up with some heavy BS for a very long time out of a lot of people. I want you to know I said attracted because some of that's on you, but it's not it's not a fault thing, right? Like, it's not a blame thing. Love is an interesting situation with you, because I don't see anything coming in right now. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not going to, obviously, in the future. Everything changes with every decision that we make. But in the moment, I don't. The bigger thing that I see with you is completing. There's something that has to be finished up. I'm not sure if this is with a close friend or a family member, but it feels like there's something that's wrapping up that's going to take priority if it hasn't already with your time. But love-wise, I don't see anything coming in right now. I would have a question. I don't know if you want me to ask this online. I'm always so careful because I don't want to get so personal that I embarrass people or whatever. But did you have a relationship with a prior boss, or have a major crush on a prior boss? Because there's something that comes up about that for me. And I think this is the name. I'm not saying it's this person, but I'm getting the name Mark tied with you, and I'm not sure who that is. So you'll have to let me know in comments, kind of where that is. And I will jump in between you guys since I know that there's a lag, but I will absolutely jump in. Kelly, if you want a reading also, sweetheart, please let me know, like if there's a subject that you want me to touch on so I can help kind of get that in line also. I would be happy to do that for you. And Carol, you let me know if that's making any sense to you. See, this is why I want to do face-to-face with you guys. It drives me crazy. I wouldn't do this if I were talking to clients. I want to be able to pull y'all in and look at your beautiful faces and see what you have to say. It's so hard because I feel super connected to you guys, but also disconnected, right? Like it's a mess. I have to see if I can get us in some kind of Brady Bunch kind of chat room or something. That would be amazing. Where we're all just in it to win it together. You don't know? Okay. So listen, here's the thing. That's fine. I don't see it coming in right now. But there is something coming in that's closely tied with either someone who is like family to you or family to you that's going to be occupying some time. Where the love thing comes, don't try not to focus on it right now. Right now is really about you. This is about you doing a lot of self-work, you really dealing with a lot of things, because where you've been and what you've gone through, it's toughened you up a little bit. You're so soft on the inside, but so tough on the outside. Somehow we've got to meld those two things together before you can bring the right person in. You want to be authentically open, right? And vulnerable in a strong way, not in a weak way when the next person comes through. You're thinking I'm onto something though? I think I am too. I'm just not sure who this is. I think there's something coming in that arena. Maybe that's why this is coming in. I will just say for right now, sit tight a little bit on the love thing. Let's work on self a little bit more and kind of get focused on combining that head energy and that heart energy to get you balanced out a little bit. You're not imbalanced, but anybody that you attract right now is not going to see the real you. They're going to see a version of you that's been put up for safety reasons, right? To protect yourself, to protect your heart, and to protect your world. So let's hold off just a little bit with that, if that's okay with you. Kelly, are you still in, girl? Let me know. I can't see if you're still there. These messages are crazy. You know, we didn't have this problem on any of the other shows, I can tell you right now. But when mine comes up, of course, Katie, bar the door, it's all going to break loose. Oh, awesome, Chastity. Thank you for telling me that. So Microsoft Teams, we could do that. I don't know if it'll stream in the right way, but I will absolutely check into that and see what I can do with that. We use a lot of different group kind of software like that as well for the classes, and they work brilliantly, but we're not streaming the classes, right? It's like making sure those platforms are going to work together, but it sure would be nice if they did, so I wouldn't have to jump back and forth because I feel bad. I feel like I'm missing something with you guys, and believe me, that is the last thing I ever want to do is miss something with you guys. Were you guys who were in, Janelle and Carolyn, all of you guys, were you guys here for the first part when I was talking about the Mandela effect and about the new one that's out now, the new weird thing that kind of, for me, proves that we're in a parallel reality right now, or at least a parallel timeline? Let me know. It was super strange. It's regarding Isaiah 11:16. The verses have changed, which I was like, what? Today I was kind of, Ricky, what? Right? I had to take a real step back, but it was crazy interesting. Yeah, let me know with that. And I am sorry I'm jumping back and forth, you guys. I really am. And my nose itches. No. We have so many allergies here right now. It's like today was the coolest day we've had, and it was like 101. Can I just tell you, 50 menopause and 101, no bueno, no mixy. It's terrible. I thought I was going to have a heart attack, but it's been like that for a hot minute. It's been like that for a while. Hey, Janelle, you know what? Actually, I wanted to tell you, too. I was just up with Billy and Beth, actually. A week and a half ago, Romy and I went up and spent the night with them. Our dog, Gracie, is a collie, and she was in the Scottish festival. She got to parade around with her tartan on. She was so excited. And we stopped and stayed a night with Billy and Beth, and it was so much fun. We had so much fun. And, of course, it made me think of you, right? Like all those old connections were so precious, and it was such a moment. It was so cool. It just brought me back into all that old energy of all of my girls from Atlanta. Do you know what I mean? Everybody coming over, getting a reading, hanging out, snacking a little bit, having a drink. It was amazing. I had such a good time with that. It was super, super fun. Let me pop back over to the other one now. Holy camole. Girl, Chastity, I may be putting you to work, honey. I tell you what, this is like a dang tennis match. My head is back and forth, trying to keep up. And I'm not seeing any comments now. If you guys are commenting, I'm not seeing them. I will tell you that. So I will just pop back into that. If you guys didn't see it, I'm going to put it up one more time. Let me get my screen shared so I can show it to you one more time and see if you guys remember this from the old timeline the way that it was. So in the old timeline, I'm sure you guys remember that verse quite a bit, but that verse said, and the lion shall also dwell with the lamb, right? Isaiah 11:16. Now that has completely shifted, and let me show you what it says. You guys can tell me if you think it's as weird as I think it is, but I think it's super weird. So this is where we are now. Can you guys see it? Can you read it? The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, the leopard shall lie down with the young goat, the calf of the young, the lion, and the faltering altogether. It's crazy because when this was brought to my attention, I actually had to go and look everything up. I went and looked in the King James Version. I went and looked in even the Mormon version. I was looking at old storybooks, children's storybooks, and all of these things. It has literally changed everywhere. What was fascinating was some of the old pictures were still up of the lamb, or I mean of the lion with the lamb, but the writing had changed and said the wolf. And I was like, what in the crap is going on? Oh, Carol, I'm grateful for you too. You're with your friend Mary Jane. I'm happy to do a read for her. Can I get what's his name? Would you mind? What's Mary Jane's son's name? And I'm happy to jump in. I'm grateful for you too. I'm grateful for all of you guys. My days are a heck of a lot brighter knowing that I have you ladies predominantly, because it's predominantly ladies, right? And you gentlemen in my life. It makes me feel not quite as loopy and definitely not as alone. It makes my days far more interesting. Thanks for letting me know, Chastity. I appreciate that. Yeah, if you can give me his name, Mary Jane's son's name, I'm more than happy. I'm sorry the relationship's fractured. I know what that's like. I've got one son, sadly, that I'm estranged to, and it breaks my heart. There's nothing I can do about it, and that part stinks even worse, right? Sometimes you wonder if they'll ever know how much you really love them. Sometimes it's just really hard for people to, I don't know, realize the other one's human and fallible and fragile. It can be really difficult. Human relationships are something else. His name is Brandon. Okay. Yeah, let me get tapped into that. Give me 1 second. Get some soda. I'm dying. It's so hot, you guys. Brandon. And Mary Jane. Thank you for being around, Mary Jane. Thank you, Carol, for being such a good friend, first of all. But thanks for tuning in. I'm super happy. It's nice when you've got friends that come in like that. But I think all of you guys are friends. I was looking at the comments from last night. Y'all were so supportive with each other. I love it. It's that beautiful, beautiful collective energy. You bring all of these souls in who just want to be helpful and want to be loving and light. And you guys were every bit of that. It tickles me pink. I couldn't be prouder of you guys. So let me see what I can pull in with him. Oh, wow. Again, it's a little difficult sometimes because I can't have that live, one-on-one from you, but I will ask you, please communicate if what I'm saying makes sense so that I know that I'm on the right track. Because when we're in a group like this, sometimes I will pick up on other people's stuff. But one of the things that I pick up with him is I'm not sure what the connection is. There's like an older person. It feels like an older man or male figure for me that comes in and creates a lot of change for him. It's a lot of uproar. It's always uproar, right? It's always that, and it shows you as being inflexible. I don't say in this that I think you're inflexible at all. In fact, I think the opposite. I think you are probably too flexible with most things, and it puts the other person in a position of constantly promoting their cause, of constantly promoting kind of a poking. Do you know what I mean? Like, organized chaos almost. I mean, it's not like it's so always out in the open that everybody would notice. Like people know something's up, but it seems with Brandon, for me, that emotionally he's stuck in a very childlike age range of how he processes emotion. It seems to me like there's some damage there that happens with him early on that just kind of stunts him emotionally from maturing. And that's unfortunate because he could have great success. Brandon is incredibly, incredibly smart. There's no doubt about that. Um, he does suffer with details and attention sometimes. I'm not sure if this is ADHD, but he definitely has a hard time with focus a lot of the time. And I think also like clearly communicating in a more mature way. I guess this goes back to the emotional immaturity, but in a mature way, how he really feels about things. I think a lot of the times he says things that he doesn't really mean, but they just kind of fly off the handle. But it seems like there's a lot of family involvement from the start that makes it really hard for him. Not all bad, but a lot of it just feels really heavy. I think it weighs on him really bad. And then he also has the thing where he's been taught not to trust women, that women are liars, right? That they're going to always be stirring things up, that they always just want something. Hey, Bridget. Is it Brigitte? It's Brigitte. Zanotti. Ha capito bene. Oh, it's nice to meet you. Everybody's in two different pages, Brigitte. Some are here on this one, and then there are other ones on another page in Facebook. So I'm crossing back and forth, but I'm happy that you're here. I want to jump back over to Brandon, though, really quick. It does look like he has a deep distrust. He wants to trust women, but this seems to get taken out on you quite a bit. I think he feels a lot of the times like he wasn't protected. So I'm going to be really careful with this because I don't want to hurt your feelings. I don't want to put any blame on you and make you feel worse about the situation than you do. I do think there were a lot of times when you could have stood up more, when you could have been tougher in that situation, where he wanted to see you rise up instead of falling down. It'll repair itself. Give him some time. He's super, super immature, but there's new beginnings coming around the corner for him. Now, I'm not sure if he already has a baby or if one's coming in, but there is new life around him that starts changing him from the inside outside. And I think it's the only way that he can. I think it's the only way he can gain perspective is to have a family of his own or to have that experience of his own to understand better how to kind of forgive and forget and let things move on. The influence was from grandmother. Yeah, okay, I was getting like an older person. She must be very domineering because the energy for me is masculine. That's why I thought it was like an older man. That or maybe she has a mustache. I don't know. I don't want to go there and start saying somebody has a mustache. Maybe she does. But yeah, I mean, it's heavy. But listen, Mary Jane, just hang tight. Let him move through the motions. Let him experience life a little bit. Just hold energy. Do you know what I mean for him? Hold that hard energy of just always wanting the best for him, which I know you always do. And try not to take this so personally. Everything passes, and this will pass when you give it the room to do that. Okay, so please give it some space so that it can pass out. All right, Brigitte, let me see. I got your name right. Yeah, I hope so. On your daughter Bella. Ah, tu sei italiano, no? Io sono italiano. Do you speak Italian? Perché per me normalmente è più semplice di parlare in italiano. Però, if you speak English only, we'll do English. Bravo. Grazie. Thank you for letting me know that I got that right. All right, so you want me to see what I'll pick up with your daughter, Bella. I think Bella, I'm already picking up with her a little bit. She is super highly energetic and highly artistic. There is so much energy in that girl. Like I see her just everything, dancing, singing, art, movement, like it's everywhere, every direction, every direction, every direction. It's really funny. I like her energy a lot. She would make one heck of a guru because she's got this thing about her, this magnetism about her that people just draw to, right? Like she's got such a bright light inside of her. But like I said, she is a lot like her mother. That little star did not fall far, I can assure you. She's quite the star seed as well. I don't say that a lot. I try not to use those terms. Sorry, it's dry in here. I try not to use those terms too often because I think people get too far out with it, or think that I'm chasing aliens around. It's not that. But she does have this very, gosh, how do I say, old soul's not even the world, this quality to her. There's just something about her. It sets her apart. It always will. It can be the biggest strength for her. It can also be her downfall. And I'm sure you have seen both sides of that. You're German. Ah, I don't speak as much German. My husband was born and raised in Germany. She's lost. Yeah, because that's part of the problem. Now, that's why I said it can be her greatest strength or her biggest weakness, right? That being all over the place with too many things going, because she just has all this, she has this energetic that's intense. I'm sorry to hear that she's lost. There's no real way to wrap or kind of rope her um, back in until she's ready to make that shift. You've lived in America a long time. I'm sorry. I'm joking. Before y'all eat me alive, I've only been back in the US for like 8 months. Okay. Normally I live in Italy. It's hard, sweetie. It's really hard to watch them go down that road. But here's the thing. We all did it too, to a certain degree. I think the same amount of danger was out there when we go into it that now our kids are going through it. The only difference is that it's fully exposed now, right? Like everybody has accessibility to it. It makes it a little bit harder. She'll be okay. I do worry a little bit about substances with her, and her just going a little over the top with things. I don't think she knows when to quit. Again, that's part of that big creative energetic. Sometimes they have a hard time pulling back. And there could also be a disconnect because of that starseed connection. Probably if you could ever talk her into it, hypnotherapy would probably, like deep hypnotherapy would probably work really, really well with her, and or some type of shamanic work. She might benefit from that because I see her being deeply spiritual, so deeply spiritual. That's why I said she would make a heck of a guru. If she could get all that lined up, this girl would have it dead on. And I don't know like where you guys are in the US, but here in El Paso, in fact, this weekend, Victor Astorga, if you guys saw him the other night, we are building a teepee, actually. We're going to start doing sweat lodges and a lot of work. Now, some of that will be assisted. I am never going to say on here that it will be assisted by anything hallucinogenic because that is illegal. But I will say that it will be assisted with a lot of modalities. So if you guys are ever out in this area and you want to do that kind of work, that's where we're going with this. We're just trying to help everybody. Oh, bless you. You know what? Here's the thing. You can't make somebody see how special they are, right? They have to find that out for themselves. I mean, that is the hardest thing to watch, especially when it's your kid. When you see them for what they are, but if they don't feel it yet, if that spark hasn't ignited in them, if they haven't woke up yet, there is nothing you can do. I'll tell you from experience, because I got 5 kids. The only thing you can do is hold the example down all day, every day of loving yourself and holding that art energy. That's it. That's all you can do. I mean, I'm lucky mine didn't go too far out there. Everybody had their moments of exploration. Do you know what I mean? Trying to figure out who they were and what was going on. But I let them go. I let them go do it without a whole lot of talk or interference about it because I knew there was nothing I could do. The more that I got involved, other than just saying, make good choices. Do you know what I mean? Be kind to yourself. Don't try not to hurt anybody along your path. The only other thing I could do was hold that heart energy and just try to pray to put that out there that they would find a way to love themselves as much as I loved them. I say this a lot to the kids, the people in my class, but also a lot of my clients. If you could only love yourself as much as you love other people, man, the world would be a different place. So have some faith, Brigitte. I hope that she will come around and figure out that she is Gaia, right? Dang, my German's bad. I do yell. My son loves to yell Krankenhaus a lot because his German or his Italian grandmother was raised in Germany predominantly and still goes to a German church. So she's usually yelling at us something by Ich liebe dich. Let me see if I can pop that up. Girl, I'm sorry. I have to pop y'all's comments up here, but I am blind. Lord help me, I'm old. Yeah. Keep doing what you're doing, Brigitte. That's all you can do, right? Like, this is so hard with kids and loved ones and spouses. It is so hard to watch somebody go through it until we realize we're going through it too. Maybe we're on a different level, right? Like maybe we're a little further up the staircase, but we're all still on a staircase. It's hard to watch them go through. It is the most painful thing in the world, but where there's love, there's hope. And that, in that spiritual path, where there's hope and love, nothing bad can really come in. She'll figure her way out. She'll wiggle her way around. I mean, I hope she doesn't, where she doesn't cause herself any more unnecessary trauma. But I think she's going to be okay, sweetie. I think when she comes into her own, you're going to have a creative genius that is going to be out the charts, right? Like, she is going to be doing phenomenal work. So just stay with it. I'll put out some energy forward too. I think probably most of the people in the group here, we can all probably agree that we can hold for Mary Jane's son Brandon and also for Bella. I think everybody could take 10 minutes tonight and do that. And speaking of that, I wanted to see if you guys would participate and just hold a minute of meditation for me, or not for me, but with me. One of our associates, Wanda Callahan, many of you know her. Her stepfather passed away a couple of days ago, and she and her family, of course, are going through that. And although it was a big release for her, it's also really hard. He was a wonderful man. So if you guys could now, just for a few minutes, just close your eyes, bring all that love into your heart, and if we can send it out to Wanda, I would deeply appreciate it. Just good thoughts, guys. Good vibes. That's all we want to do. Thank you. I appreciate that, guys. I know Wanda will too. It's amazing how fast and how hard that energy flows when it's sent from a place of love. Even if it's somebody we don't know well, it still hits. They still feel it. It's intense. All right, guys, I think I'm actually wrapping up. It has been a long week. It's going to be an awesome weekend, though. And I'm excited about it. I hope you guys are going to take it easy for the weekend and take care of yourselves. I hope you will continue to support and love each other through the page and when we're in group like this. This for me, this is what it's supposed to be, right? This is people holding each other up and praising them and loving them. Oh, Brigitte, thank you. Yeah, I've known Wanda for so many years. She has been one of my closest friends for as long as I can remember. We all have these little groups of people that we collectively meet up with, but she has definitely been in my soul group for a very, very long time. She's special. There's no doubt about it. I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I don't think we don't have any shows going this weekend. Actually, Sunday, hopefully Wanda will be able to come in with her show in the flow. We'll kind of have to stay in the flow and see if she's up for it or not. If she's not, we will maybe talk Victor into coming in. And then Monday, we have the beautiful Rachel Warren. And Tuesday, Victor comes in. He's very sweet and handsome, if you guys haven't watched him yet. But I love you guys so much. Karen, I love you. I'm glad you were here. Chastity, I love you, sweetheart. Have a blessed weekend. All of you guys, all of my love, all the time. You're always in my thoughts and in my heart. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, and have an awesome weekend. Ciao.